Can the Vikings come out of Philly with the win? Let's get it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on, everybody? It's Lonnie Z, and this is FaZe Fantasy Live, Thursday Night Football edition. We're going to be previewing tomorrow night's game with the Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, with me is my boy, Jake Hansen. What's up, Jake? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing tonight, Lonnie?
I'm good, man. Real good. Real good. So we have a real good matchup tomorrow. Well, at least it should be. These are two teams that were 1-2 throughout the season. They were battling for the best record in the NFC for a while. Vikings kind of fell off later. The Eagles stayed strong. Eagles got all the way to the Super Bowl. And last year they played in week 2 in Philadelphia. I believe it was either a Monday or a Thursday night game for that one too. The Eagles didn't look great against the Patriots last week, but they won. They came away with the win, and that's what we expected them to do that. And then the Vikings, they just laid an egg and played horrible at home against the Bucks. So, what do you expect from these teams tomorrow?
I think I expect what we expected in the beginning of the season, before the first week, for them to both play good football. The first half of the New England and Philly game, I thought Philly played really well, and then they kind of just had some problems with their offense at the end of the game. Hurts had a lot of mistakes at the end of the game, and the Vikings just never seemed like they got going the way they wanted to. And like I said before, maybe they underestimated the Buccaneers, but I think this game is going to come out the way we expect, and it's going to be a good football game. I think the first half is going to be a good, high-scoring first half.
Yeah, you would think that that's the case. I mean, there's some key injuries on both sides of the ball with, Kenneth Gainwell. As of right now, I don't think he's playing tomorrow. I don't know if they've made an official ruling on that, but I think he's probably out tomorrow. And then they have one of their corners is out.
And the safety's out.
They have their safeties out, and then Bradbury's out.
Mm-hmm.
So that, those are some key players for the Eagles, and that could affect the game. But on the other side, the Vikings have two offensive linemen that may not play. Their center's not going to play already. They've already said that.
Mm-hmm.
But their offensive tackle, he may not play. And that could be huge because their line already isn't great.
No, that could be huge for them. They got some big boys. Philly has some big boys. Jalen Carter, he's up in the middle of the line, so that could be big for the Eagles side to hit Cousins. But
who do you think they're going to have running the ball? I mean, really, if Gainwell's hurt, Swift should be the guy. What's up with that backfield? It seems like the Eagles backfield is always a mess. It's a fantasy like train wreck. You can't trust anyone in that, backfield for fantasy football. What do you think they're going to do tomorrow with that?
I think they're going to have to give the ball to Swift. I think their game plan last week was to split carries with Swift and Gainwell, but I think Gainwell looked a lot better. I heard the coach of the Eagles was saying that that was his game plan last week, but it went towards Gainwell, and then this week, now that Gainwell's out, that more of the touches will go to Swift. But he said it's not a for sure thing every week. That's how it's going to be. So they have 4 running backs, and they have 3 that you'll probably see at least 5 touches by each one tomorrow. I can see each running back getting at least 5 touches tomorrow because they do not know what they have.
Yeah, I agree with that. Swift, he knows the Vikings very well. He just came out of the division playing with the Lions for so long. And historically, he's done well against the Vikings. But this is a whole new thing. He's not the same Swift as he once was. And on the other side, the Vikings, they have Madison, who didn't look good last week. I think we went over his numbers in our last podcast, but his numbers weren't jumping off the table, and they didn't excite anyone. So if the Vikings can't clean up that running game and figure it out, this could be a long night. Last year, Slay shut Justin Jefferson down. I mean, he did have 6 receptions, but I think it was for like 40 something yards, no touchdowns, nothing like that. Last week, Jefferson had 150 yards receiving, but he didn't find the end zone. And I kind of feel like he's almost a really good play to score a touchdown. Like if people on prize picks or whatever, he's at 0.05. I kind of think that they're going to make it a real strong effort to get him the ball and get him in the end zone. What do you think about, that stuff?
I'm hoping that the Vikings last game was a preseason game for him. I have a good feeling that McConnell's going to spread his offense out on this game, and he's going to have to put more plays for Osborne and Addison and Hawkinson, because just like you said, Slay is going to be on Jefferson. He's going to be on him. So just 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 put more plays for Hawkinson and Osborne and Addison, and he'll be all right. Addison one on one is going to win most of the plays, you know. So if you give Addison more plays, then they're going to have to get off Jefferson a little bit. So I think O'Connell's going to have to open it up. He knows, and then just do more just do, do more screen passes with Madison. You know, last game it doesn't seem like they did that. You know, last year they did a lot of screen passes with Cook, a lot, and
Yeah.
it seemed like
Mhm.
against Tampa Bay they didn't do too many.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And they're really going to have to, Kirk Cousins, he's going to have a really good game here. They can't afford to turn the ball over against a team like this. Even though Philadelphia didn't look great against the Patriots last week, they're still a really good team. They're going to be at home. Those fans,
Mm-hmm.
those Philly fans are crazy, man. those,
Mm-hmm.
those Philly fans are crazy. So all those Pennsylvania teams, the Steelers, the Eagles,
The Eagles,
they're crazy
yeah,
fans. So, yeah, I think Cousins is going to have a good game. I was kind of surprised that Jalen Hurts didn't have the kind of Jalen Hurts game that we thought he would have last week. Um, I expect him to come out a little more aggressive this week, throwing the ball around, especially since Gainwell isn't available. So last week they had Gainwell. At least he was available, even if they did script most of the things for Swift and it just kind of changed.
right.
They still had Gainwell
Mm-hmm.
available. Now I think they just activated, or I don't know if he was a healthy scratch or whatever, but Penny, I think, is going to be playing tomorrow, or at least in the lineup.
Yeah,
So I look for Jalen Hurts to look for Smith and AJ Brown
and Goddard.
and get it, and Goddard,
He
yeah,
didn't
and,
get.
and get it
Yeah,
going.
Goddard did not get one catch last week, so I see Goddard going for Goddard a lot. You know what I mean? Because maybe I think both of those coaches are going to sit back and look at last week's game. I can see a high scoring game tomorrow. I really can.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it's a high scoring game. Both of these offenses are powerful. They can both put up a lot
Hmm.
of points. I think for Minnesota's sake, their defense is going to have to show up. They looked a little better last week against the Buccaneers than they had the last season.
Right.
Uh, but this is a whole different offense, man. These Eagles, I mean, they have stars everywhere around the whole offense. And you're right. I think getting Goddard involved early and often will set up things down the field for AJ and Smith. Um, and then also can open up the run for Hurts because he'll take off on
Yeah.
you. And one of the prize picks, one of the plays that I have Hurts to rush for a touchdown tomorrow. He was at 0.05, so he just needs one touchdown rushing.
Mhm.
Last time they played last year, he ran in 2 touchdowns. He got 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown. So I kind of expect a little bit of the same,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I th-
yeah, so
I think the game plan, just like you said it, I think the game plan is going to be the same for both teams. Get the ball to Goddard, Vikings need to get the ball to Hawkinson. I think the tight ends, they have to be in play tomorrow. And if you really think about it, if Mac Jones is going to throw for over what was it, 340, 330, and then Kendrick Bourne's going to get 2 touchdowns, Jefferson and Addison's going to get something, But I think the game plan has to be tight ends on both sides of the ball. I mean, on both teams for sure.
Yeah, they definitely have. If you looked at where tight ends were ranked this year before the season started, there'd be like number 3 and 5,
Yeah,
maybe. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Hawkinson at number 3 and Goddard maybe at the fifth best after Pitts.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's how it was on fantasy. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I don't know how that's going to play out for the rest of the year, but they definitely have two really good tight ends, which not too many teams have, man. They're like a commodity.
Hmm.
Have a good tight end on your team.
Yeah.
Um, so fantasy wise, man, what are you thinking? Is it like they have on FanDuel, they have these five player single game matchups. Same thing with DraftKings. Who do you think's gonna be the big guy tomorrow? Who's gonna have the game tomorrow? Who like if he's in your lineup, you're gonna be all right, starting him or what have you. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Dallas Goddard. I'm going to go with Dallas
All
Goddard.
right.
If you have him in your lineup this week, I would leave him because I know some guys that have the Yahoo Fantasy leagues, the ESPN leagues. They probably have Goddard and they seen that he didn't get one catch last week, but I would keep Goddard in for sure.
All
I
right.
think they got to use him.
Well, I'll probably go with this is gonna sound like Captain Obvious. I just think Jefferson is gonna be, he's gonna get in the end zone at least once, maybe even twice. I don't know if his yards are gonna be over the top, but I expect him to get in the end zone. And because this is one of those kind of games where if you're a superstar like he is, you have to take that personal what happened last year
Yeah.
because they roughed him up, they shut him down. Slay was talking junk, and so as far as winning, losing this particular game, I'm a Viking. Yeah, I'm a Viking fan, but man, this is a tough one for me. I would have to say the Vikings start off 0-2, bro, and Philadelphia is going to come away with this one and get a dub. What do you? What's your pick on this one?
I'm kind of with you. I have a feeling that the Vikings might start 0-2, but it. I mean, the way you looked at both teams last week, you can't. It's hard to pick this one, but I would say Philly because they're playing at home. But that's the only reason, to be honest. If they were in Minnesota, I would go with Minnesota.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it pains me to say that and agree with you, but
Yeah, I agree with you.
I do.
I agree with you. I'm kind of going your way. I mean, because like you said that, like it could go either way. The end of the Philly game, Philly did not look good at all. The fourth quarter did not look good. Mac Jones, he brought them down there like nothing. Like their defense did not
That's
look,
true.
and Jalen Hurts was lost the fourth quarter. So now
Yeah,
if they bring that into this game, then the Vikings is going to win this game. But
yeah.
like you said, it's in Philly and it's their first home game of the year. It's it's
Mhm.
it's it's going to be a tough game for Minnesota. Minnesota, they had to win last week, just because they were
Yeah.
going into a tough atmosphere tomorrow.
Exactly. And you know what? I think the keys to the game, like if for Minnesota to have even a chance, and that sounds crazy. We're only 2 weeks in, and but for them to have a chance to win this game, I think some of the keys are they got to get Alexander Madison going. He only had 11 carries last week for 34 yards. That ain't gonna cut it. They got to get him going. And like you said, I think they need to work Hawkinson and Addison to free up Jefferson.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, Jefferson could get free no matter
right.
what, but to really, if you're hitting Addison and Hawkinson, Alexander Madison's getting going. Um, I think that the Vikings will stand a chance. They definitely have the kind of offense that can be in this game and
Oh, for sure. Oh,
explode
yeah, for sure,
on the Eagles.
for sure.
And so, what do you think the keys are for the Eagles? other than we just favor them. We think they're the favorite, but what do you think their keys are?
I think their keys are to figure out what running back they wanna give the ball tomorrow to.
Right.
Pick
Right?
one and run with them because that
Yeah.
looks like because of that little that honestly looks like what happened last week. They struggled with what they wanted to do, and I think to get, Dallas Goedert going, I think they need to get that tight end going. When he gets 6, 7 catches a game and he's having 80 yards, that offense is rolling. Like, A.J. Brown had a big game last week. Devontae Smith had a touchdown, but, Goddard didn't have nothing. The running backs didn't do nothing, and they almost lost that game. I mean, they should have probably scored a lot more points that game. And, Jalen Hurts, it looks like he was trying to run around too much, but, I think their key is to figure out which running back they wanna use, and I think it's, getting, Dallas Goedert going.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, I think that they have to get Hurts going too. It's going to all come around from him, obviously, but yeah, they do need to pick a running back. I mean, Boston Scott's going to be out there. It's Swift had one carry for 3 yards. Bro, what is that? Why do you go get this guy? It kind of reminds me of Atlanta. They go and spend a lot of capital on these draft picks, getting Kyle Pitts and Drake London first round picks, and they don't even use them. It's like having a Ferrari and you just let it sit there. You never drive it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same. I'm not calling Swift a Ferrari, but he was a free agent acquisition, and I still think he has something in the tank, man, and he's more than capable of 15 to 20 carries in a game. Gainwell had the 14 carries, so someone's going to have to get those carries. Jalen Hurts rushed 9 times for 37 yards. um so they're really going to have to, I agree with you, get their running game going however they do it. Find a guy and let that guy give him the rock and let him run, because the Vikings, until they prove that they're a really good stout run defense, you got to run against them, even though everyone passes against them. And last week they didn't give up much on the ground. Rashad White didn't look too good,
No.
and Hurts was 22 of 33 for only 170 yards. I mean, you just touched on it. He didn't look. He was running around, 22 for 33, 170 yards. That's a 5.2 average.
Mhm.
That's not going to get it. One touchdown. He got sacked 3 times. You know, um, it just, but like we said, last week was just a funky week, bro. It just, everything was weird in the NFL. Nothing made sense.
No, yeah, you're right. Nothing made sense, and I'm hoping this week tops the first week, and,
Yeah.
I hope it starts off tomorrow. I hope it's a good game. I hope both those teams figured it out.
Yeah, because this really could be a real entertaining and fun game to
Yep.
watch. Really,
Yeah.
crack open your favorite beverage, and you sit down and just check out the game, because these two teams are projected, to do well this year. Uh, I don't know. I think the Eagles really are. The Vikings people, there's a jury out on them. They just think their defense is going to be horrible. But I think they're going to surprise people with their defense. I think they'll be fine this year with their defense. AJ and Devontae, they both had 7 receptions, last week, but Devontae only had 47 yards, but he did get the touchdown. And those two, there's some weapons. Those guys are weapons. So the Vikings DBs are going to have their hands full for sure.
Yeah, Philly's offense could really be a high scoring game. I mean, Philly could go. They have the weapons to go. Just, hopefully the
Yeah,
Vikings slow them down a little bit and run the
yeah,
ball, waste some time. Like we're saying, use Madison and waste some time. Don't give the ball to Philly too quick, you know?
exactly.
Get a couple
And
series in.
yep. Kirk Cousins is going to have to take care of the ball. He had 3 turnovers on him
Mhm.
last week. He can't do that again. I mean, they did that against a not a very good team and lost at home. So if you do that against a good team, you're going to get blown out.
Yeah,
You won't just get beat.
right.
So, yeah, man. I got I got the Phillies 28, Vikings 24. I think it'll be a close game if they play, but it could easily be 31-28 Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? But I'll call the Phillies on this one. You know I hate to do
I
that,
know,
bro, but
no,
I'll
yeah,
call
no,
the
I know.
Phillies on this one.
Like I would like the Vikings. I don't want the Vikings to go down 0-2. They're too good of a team. I think they're too good of a team to go down
Yeah.
0-2. And I'm thinking 31-28 Eagles, but I could see it flip flop though. Just like you said, I could see it flip flop. I could see the Vikings easily winning 31-28.
All right, bro. We have Goddard for FanDuel. I think if you played Addison, you'll be fine. Maybe both tight ends. You know, Hawkinson is not a bad play if you're doing yeah, it's a single game, so you can have a couple tight ends or whatever. I wouldn't play either one of these teams' defenses
Right.
um, in that. The kickers are always coming to play in those 5-man. You know, a kicker is always a good thing. Both of them have very good kickers. So you know, it should be a good. And then Jalen Hurts, and if you go Hurts and AJ Brown or Hurts and Devontae, you can't go wrong. But you could also go Cousins and JJ or Cousins and Addison. So there's a ton of them. These games are very hard to hit the single games with this much talent because you have too many options here. You know, everyone's damn good. So yeah. All right, brother. Well, you got anything else for us tonight? You want to talk about any injuries or anything that happened this last week? Week one, I think we covered it in our last show. Has anything transpired in the last 24 hours that we need to let people know about?
I don't think anything else changed in the last 24 hours. I know that we talked about we didn't really know about Deontay Johnson, but now we know he's out for at least 2 to 3 weeks with the hamstring injury. He's out,
Yep.
and we all know about Dobbins and all that. We're going to bring up Melvin Gordon from the practice squad, but yeah, nothing else changed on the injury front other than like we said about the Eagles guys, Gainwell and the DB and the safety. They were ruled out
Yeah.
today. So
Yeah. That's yeah. So it's Gainwell, Bradbury, Blankenship is their safety. They're all out. Yeah, so that's who's out for Philadelphia. And for Minnesota, yeah, their center Bradbury, he's out, and their offensive lineman Reed, he's out. But their offensive tackle, he's not on this list yet. So hopefully, you know, he'll still play because they can't afford to
yeah.
lose two of their starting linemen. Other than that, they're kind of healthy. They kind of got through the first week. So we'll see, man. Well, that's it for tonight. Your Thursday night football preview. Hopefully, you got some value out of this and some info, some intel that's going to help you make those bets tomorrow and get your FanDuel and DraftKings cards in. Also, remember, I have two picks for you for prize picks. It is Justin Jefferson. He's going to score a touchdown. He's at zero point 0.5, so he just needs one touchdown. And I think that Jalen Hurts is going to rush for one touchdown. So those are my two picks for you for prize picks. I'm not saying they're stone cold locks, but they're damn good picks. So check them out. Thanks a lot for listening in, folks. We'll have another podcast Saturday that is going to be previewing all the weekend's games. So I'm Lonnie. He's Jake, and we'll catch you on the next one.